Yo,
What you saying, man? What you
back
saying?
in the cup, man.
Yeah, we're back. We're back.
In the cup.
We're back.
I'm doing well, man. How are you doing? You alright?
I'm well still. I'm well, man. I'm all good. It's all good in the hood still.
Wonderful to hear, man. Yo, guys, welcome to another episode of the Purple Podcast. My name is Emmanuel. My name is also Corriday. I'm accepting it now. It's just, it's what it is.
My name is David. They also call me Adebi in the village. But yeah.
In the village. You ever been to the village?
No, I haven't been to the village, no.
This guy said in the village.
But yeah, man, that's what they call me still. So depending on where you know me you can use either one interchangeably.
So yeah, man, welcome back to another episode of the Purple Podcast. Shout out to the Purple people, the Purple Nation.
Gang.
And we're back with another one. Look, we're gonna get straight into it. Identity. You know, when we did the first, our very first episode about don't ever tell a man no. You know, one of our listeners gave us some feedback, and you know, the question then came, you know, that a lot of young black boys, a lot of young black guys, they haven't found themselves. And that's so interesting because a lot of people act and think that they have found themselves. They feel like they've found themselves.
True.
So it comes back to this whole question of identity and what identity is. We even have things that are, you know, identity politics.
Yeah.
When it then becomes a thing of, you know, playing politics with people's identities and almost like an us versus them, like, you know, oh, is it because I'm this or is it because I'm that? But we're not even going to get into all of that just yet. Identity. Do you think a lot of first of all, is it important? Because I know that, you know, a lot of people, even in the church, you know, they focus on identity. A lot of people talk about identity. They talk about things which tie quite closely to that, like purpose. Is identity overrated?
Not at all. I mean, quite frankly, I think anybody who thinks identity is overrated, they need some serious help, because really and truly, when you think about it, your identity, how can I phrase this? Your identity is what people will see of you, is how people will perceive you. Do you see what I'm saying? So, like, how do you act? How do you behave? What's your moral compass? What do you believe? What are your set of values? What are your morals? Do you know what I'm saying? And it's like, that is your identity. That's who people will meet. That's how people will decide whether they want to know you on a closer basis, on an arm's distance basis, on any kind of basis, or whether they don't want to know you at all. Do you know what I'm saying? Identity is definitely not overrated, not by a long shot.
Impossible to navigate this world without identity.
100%.
You will either form identity for yourself or it will be formed for you.
Oh, yeah, facts. Big facts.
Like, based on what you've just said, I'm in total agreement with you. And even just in the definition now, you know, one of the definitions on here is the fact of being who or what a person or thing is.
Yeah.
Like, we live in a world full of definitions.
Yeah.
Like, unfortunately, that's changing today with all this moral relativism and just general relativism in general, where, you know, it's like, you know, oh, you know, the color of our walls in our room is blue.
Yeah,
the color of the walls in this room is blue.
Yeah.
Well, no, that depends on, you know, whether what kind of spectrum you're looking at, and
that's
blah, blah, blah. The sky is blue.
Nonsense.
Well, that depends on this and
that's
that
nonsense.
and radio
that's
and
absolutely
different
nonsense.
Look, we live in a world full of definitions, and we cannot navigate this world without definition.
True.
We define it's what we do as human beings. That's why we call a tree a tree. That's why we call a lion a lion.
True.
That's why we call a house a house. Everything has a definition.
Yeah.
You know, we've got words to describe everything. And so when it comes to human relationships then, and even who you are as a person, that is either something you will define or something others will define for you.
Yeah.
So the question is then, with people in general, let's just talk about generally in this day and age that we're living in, particularly with millennials and Gen Z. You know, do you think loads of people know their identity?
Not at all. Not at all. And it's very apparent in the way people move and in the way people act and behave. A lot of people just follow other people, you know. A lot of people, they copy trends, they follow trends. I remember when fluxes were the new thing in town. Everybody was on fluxes. And those shoes
What are
went from
fluxes for those who don't know?
Fluxes, they're like these. They're like a brand of Adidas shoes. Like type in Adidas Fluxes on Google, and you'll see the type of shoes that come up. And I remember everybody was wearing those shoes. Oh my days! And never have I seen, you know, a brand or a type of shoe plummet in fashion so quick. Those shoes went from 100 to 0, and the moment, you know, they weren't the new, you know, best thing to wear or the most popular thing to wear, then people started to ridicule other people for wearing fluxes. They quickly became shoes that everyone would wear to shoes that basic people wear, or basic Betty's wears, you know what I'm saying? Or
people who they just follow the trends, they just follow everything.
And loads of people are doing it.
Unique or individual.
Loads of people are doing it. Do you know what I'm saying? You know, a wise person once said, if you can't buy something or a certain item, if you can't buy it 3 times over, don't even buy it in the first place. And yet we see all these guys that quite a lot of them aren't even making legal money. Let's put it out there.
Yeah.
They're all flexing, buying Louis Vuitton, buying Versace, buying all these other brands, Canada Goose and all these kinds of things here. And it's all because they see other people doing it. They see like artists or rappers doing it, or people that look like they're rich. They see them doing it. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it all goes up to identity because, and it's a thing where because they see rich people and people of influence doing it, they also want to be a person or people of influence. So they copy that. It all comes back to identity. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's that one thing we mentioned in the first episode. Don't tell a man no. Who are you patterning yourself after? Do you know what I'm saying? Who are your role models? Because you will mold your life to be like your role models.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Yeah, it's wild, man. It's wild for sure.
You know what I would say in addition to everything you've said? Like, there's a saying, if you don't stand for anything, you'll fall. If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything.
Oh, yeah.
In order to be able to stand for something, you need to know who you are.
Yeah.
Like, you need to know what that thing is, and you need to know who you are. If you don't know who you are, it will be defined for you, as we've said previously.
Yeah.
And if that's defined for you, you'll follow other things. Like, you'll be made to follow things. And that's what a lot of people are doing, where it's like, and that's partly why we have this Purple podcast. You know, we have it so that you can hear something different. Like, we want you to listen and disagree. We want you to listen and agree. Like, we want you to have your own opinion. But if you disagree, like, learn to listen to someone who doesn't have the same opinion as you, and stand your own ground.
100.
And if you then come to be persuaded, which is a different thing, then you come to be persuaded. Do you know what I mean? But again, like, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And that, I think that kind of speaks to value systems.
Yeah.
Anything that you are willing to undergo opposition or go against opposition for is something that you value.
True.
And a lot of people, like you were saying, they will, because they don't know who they are, or what they value is wrong. Well, I say what they value is not necessarily to their benefit.
Yeah.
You know, they are so malleable. They're so bendable.
True.
It's like, these trainers are what the celebrities are wearing now, so you should be wearing them.
They ebb and flow with all the trends. Yeah.
It goes back to being like sheeple and not the good kind, where it's like you're a sheep. You don't know who you are. It's because your boys are doing this that you chase it.
The blind leading the blind.
Literally, the blind leading the blind. So then the question, all right, so let's do this. How can someone know that they are being a sheeple, or how can someone know that they don't have identity, that they are just being, tossed to and fro by every wind? How can you identify that?
That's a very good question.
The funny thing is, loads of people can look at other people and assume that, you're just doing it. For example, this is a classic one. You're just a Christian because you were brought up that way, or you're just a Muslim because you were brought up that way, or like you just do this because that's what the black community says you should do. Like, how can you know that you are? That's a slightly different topic, but how can you know that you lack identity? How does somebody identify that?
That's a tough one, because knowing you lack identity is something that's built gradually over time. So everybody reaches stages where they've lacked identity to a degree at one point or another. Do you know what I'm saying? So like, this is a tough question. It's a very tough question, Because the way I see it is because we all are obviously moving on in this lifetime. As you grow, like even after 1 year, you have a change of mindset on certain things, on certain topics, on certain, subjects. So imagine how much more you'll change or will change or grow and adapt about yourself over 5 years, over 10 years. Do you know what I'm saying? So I feel like, for one, it's difficult to identify it because, with mankind in general, it's easier to always pick out faults from somebody else and not notice your own.
Yeah.
So is there a way you can pick it out? I don't think there's one size fits all kind of way to point it out for anybody else. I think it's very, very subjective for people. It's very subjective for people, and everybody learns differently. They learn in their own ways. Do you know what I'm saying? Some people cut a lot of, bad trends that they follow or whatever that might mold their identity. Some people cut that out a bit younger. So when they're 17, 18, 19, 20, some people have to wait until 35 or 40 to cut those things out. Do you know what I'm saying? It's very, very subjective, and it depends on the individual, in my opinion.
Well, I would say, let's remember, so identity is defined by the fact of being who or what a person or a thing is. And I think the question then needs to be asked, what frames you as a person? The things that will frame you as a person will be the people you surround yourself with. Because we know bad company corrupts good character. So the people we know to a degree, or sit with the wise and become wise. If you sit with the wise, you will become wise. It's the people, your environment plays a role, or a very important role, in framing the kind of person that you are.
Definitely.
So what does our environment consist of? Our environment consists of our friends. It consists of the things that educate us. So maybe it's the books we read, or
what we watch, what we look at.
What we watch, entertainment. The family members that we surround ourselves with. So I guess the question is, what do you surround? Like, what do you surround yourself with, or what are you surrounded by? And looking at yourself, and this is the next part I would say. In order to know whether you lack identity, I think the question needs to be asked, because again, it's not really possible to lack identity. It's just that it will be framed for you by something or someone else. So how can you identify whether you have been framed or molded by things around you? Well, I think one of the ways we can see that is when you do things that don't necessarily stem from your own decision or choice. It's literally because somebody else has told you to do it, or other people have told you to do it. And there's no seemingly rational reason for it. It's just, like you said, all my friends are buying fluxes, so I have to buy them. Well, why do you have to buy them? So what I would say is, in order to know whether your identity is something that you have ownership over, quote and unquote, or something that has been framed for you by other people, because again, like, to a degree, other people framing your identity for you is not necessarily a bad thing. The question is your identity good or bad? That's the real question here.
It depends on who is framing your identity for you.
Because we say that other people framing your identity for you is bad, because there seems to be a notion of a lack of autonomy there, one. But second, we usually say it's bad when that identity is now becoming detrimental to yourself. There's a lack of autonomy and it's detrimental to yourself. Or it's beneficial to yourself in a way that's detrimental to others.
So where it benefits you is it's detrimental to other people around you.
So if you're, for example, let's take one caricature. So in a lot of what Americans would call urban music, right? Or in a lot of rap, in a lot of popular rap, shall we say, there's this identity of the typically black man, being this hyper aggressive, I will steal your girl. Why? Just because I can. Power, right? I'm richer than you. I'm handsomer than you. I'm more. I've got a higher level of sexual prowess than you do, and therefore I'm superior to you on the basis of those things. And that's usually the character that those individuals play.
Yeah.
A lot of people then now try to actually extrapolate that and apply that in real life. The question is, why are you actually applying it in real life? We're talking about whether you can identify whether you have framed your identity or not, or whether you, quote unquote, have identity or not. Again, we've established it's not really possible not to have identity. But again, we're asking the question of, is it possible to know that you are not playing an active role in framing your own identity?
Yeah.
A lot of people have tried to extrapolate that kind of macho man
narrative that popular rap has created.
That a lot of, not all, but a lot of popular rap has created, and they've tried to apply that to real life, and it's actually not beneficial. It's detrimental to you and to everybody.
Yeah.
So people who do that, you know, they will often tell you, "Oh, I'm the man."
Yeah.
Comes back to value systems. So I guess so if we finally answer the question, how do you identify that your identity is framed by other people around you instead of yourself? Well, you have to confront the truth.
Yeah.
You have to confront the truth and listen to us, young men. Don't be a coward.
Young and old.
Young and old, actually. Yeah, that's a good point. Don't be a coward. Don't be, and this is not just for young men, or old men. It applies to women too. Don't be a coward. What do I mean? Confront the truth about yourself.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I like it.
That's a great point.
When I have sex with loads of women. Why? Why do you like that? Why does it make you happy to steal another man's woman? Why does it make you happy? Oh, because I feel powerful.
That's tap still.
Why is that the definition of power in your mind?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Why is that the definition of power? Where did that come from?
Let me click.
Okay, now we then have to ask the question, okay, is that actually beneficial? Well, I win. I get the woman. I get that pleasure.
Yeah.
But you've wrecked somebody else's life.
Yeah, it's at the cost of somebody else's happiness. Yeah.
It's at the cost of somebody else's happiness.
And and your actions were very unwarranted. Like there was no need for you to actually do that.
Now watch this. I now hear that young man saying, "Well, I don't care. Next time he won't, get on my nerves." I'm about to use a different word there. Next time he won't get on my nerves. He won't do this. He won't do that.
Yeah.
Okay, let's simply apply that same rule to you. If it was your girl,
how would you feel?
How would you feel?
Yeah. A lot of people don't know how to switch it back on themselves and look at it and empathize with other people in the same situation.
And where's this whole mentality coming from? This whole mentality of like you harming other people and that being your identity and you not caring about that. The issue with that is value.
Yeah.
What we are talking about here is valuing other people's lives.
Yeah.
And where does that come from? That comes from this whole notion of the Imago Dei. Now, what is the Imago Dei?
The what?
I think it's Latin. The Imago Dei.
Yeah.
So basically having the image of God. You are an image bearer. You are made, whether you believe it or not, you're made in the image of God.
Imago Dei.
And that immediately, because this God is a God who loves all of mankind because we're all image bearers, that immediately gives you value. We can get into that. It's kind of a little bit of a long one, but yeah, it gives people value.
Yeah.
But again, let's work it all the way back.
Yeah.
So the things that you enjoy to do, the things that you think makes you a man, the things that you think it is what it takes to be a man, where did you get that from? Why are you pursuing that? Why is that good? All of mankind has a particular issue. And one of the many, many issues that all of mankind has is this issue of defining good and evil for themselves. Defining what's right and wrong for themselves.
True.
Defining what they should pursue for themselves. Defining what they should give their time to for themselves. The question is, why do you think that the things you like are good? They may very well be good. And we'll talk about how you can know what's good or not. But the things that you pursue, why are they good? So I think that's where it begins when it comes to this whole matter of how can you know whether you are playing an active role in framing your identity and whether that's even a good thing. The things that you enjoy, the things that you pursue, are they actually good? Are they beneficial to you, or are they actually detrimental to you, or are they detrimental to others?
Yeah.
Is the detriment worth it? So I think that's where it begins, because a lot of people don't know even that.
And like, even in terms of, even in terms of, all this, gang violence and all this stuff, you know, somebody from the ops got one of their brethrens, and then they then continue the cycle of hatred and stuff like that. But then when you actually strip it back, why are you responding in such a violent manner? Do you know what I'm saying? I guarantee you 100, like most of these people that are in these gangs, their parents all started them off in church. They know that to kill people is wrong. Do you know what I'm saying? But why is it their moral compass allows them to do such things? Why is it that their moral compass is dampened to the stage where they feel that it is okay to do what they are doing? Do you know what I'm saying? It is a very, very deep thing we're talking about here, a very deep thing. And, when it comes to identity, nothing is surface level. Nothing, absolutely nothing is surface level. There are deeper questions and deeper meanings behind everything we do. And a lot of the times, like you mentioned, people don't want to sit down and actually dig and get to the very, very root of their own identity and why they do the things they do. Do you know what I'm saying?
100%, man. So I would say, like, let's start the conversation there. Like, don't be a coward. Like, you absolutely need to look into yourself and be like, okay, why do I like the things that I like? Why do I hate the things that I hate? This person doing this particular thing makes me angry. Why? Somebody giving me a bad look makes me angry. Why? The way I feel I need to retaliate to that is to fight them. Why? Do you know what I mean? Like, somebody saying something I don't agree with makes me angry that I'm going to cut you off. Why does it do that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Really, really look in within and look at almost even the involuntary things that you respond to. Even the voluntary things that you respond to. Why are you the way that you are? And once you have identified those factors that play a role in forming who you are, then you can now start to take power away from those negative things. Like, identify, okay, this is the reason that I'm the way that I am. Yeah. Is that a good thing?
Yeah.
Is that actually a good thing? Once you've identified whether it's a good thing or it's not a good thing, you then have, hopefully by the grace of God, the power to then take power away from those bad things.
Yeah.
And now give yourself or submit yourself to a different standard.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, this is all about your own decisions and what you choose. Do you know what I'm saying? That's what it comes down to. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. You have the power to change what influences you and the way you think about yourself and, your own identity. You actually have power to change that.
So when it comes to confronting the truth about yourself then and really, asking yourself, hey, what has made me into who I am? And is that a good or bad thing? I think at that point you need, if you're going to confront the truth about yourself, you need a standard of truth.
Yeah.
Like, you actually need a standard of truth because a lot of people are self-deceived. Like, you're really out here telling yourself you're a man. You're really out here telling yourself that, you're a woman. But in actuality, like, you don't, it's based off of maybe toxic examples that you've seen around you.
Yeah.
And if we're going to be honest, like, there are some of you who have based your masculinity or femininity on toxic examples around you. And there's still something inside of you which kind of tells you, like, this ain't right. And then the question I have for you then is, what is your actual standard of the truth?
Yeah.
Where are you getting your standard of the truth from?
Yeah.
Because again, what determines what is true in your life is what you are subject to. Everybody chases truth.
Yeah.
Adolf Hitler, as horrible as he was, he most likely believed that what he was doing was the right thing.
Yeah. So to him, subjectively, that would have been his truth, and his truth was absolute, and it was right.
And in his mind, he was correct. This is the right thing to do. There are a number of people who know that what they're doing is evil, and they are doing that evil intentionally. Maybe that's a different story. But like, there are people who, this is the truth in my life. That's why I'm going to follow it. So my question to you then is, because we're talking about identity, what defines truth in your life? What defines what is true? What defines what is good in your life? Because if what defines what's good is the society, There's a massive problem with that. The massive problem with society defining what is good or evil, or what's right or wrong, is the fact that human beings are fickle.
Yeah. Completely and absolutely.
What society says is right today will become the greatest evil tomorrow.
Yep.
I am telling
100%.
you. What society is saying is evil today.
It's already been happening.
It's already happening.
Yeah.
It's to be celebrated tomorrow.
It's happened. Oh, it's happened.
It's still happening.
Yeah, man. Of course it is.
I'm telling you, today, okay, so we're in 2020 right now.
Yeah.
We're in the month of April.
Mm-hmm.
As far as I know, in the UK, paedophilia is wrong.
Even around that.
Eventually,
the conversations are already happening, and I saw there was some post, and it was like, it spoke volumes to me. You know, everyone's on in the UK, they're on this whole liberal tip, and it's all about, you know, you should be able to love whoever you want and do whatever you want as long as it's not in the law, it's not harming nobody, then cool. Somebody said this is going to get to a stage where people will be allowed to love whoever they want, or people are going to use that and then turn that into making pedophilia okay. Do you know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. And, you know, a lot of people said, nah, never, there's going to be outrage. But the way the trend things are going, they're saying, rah, you should be able to love anyone you want. Justifying somebody who's, I don't know, 4 years old being in love with a 16-year-old. I'm not even gonna.
That's called sexual abuse.
Fam, it is wild. Like, it's been happening, and there's already conversations of that going on in the UK. That's currently happening. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, it is very wild, very wild.
Do you remember what we said about confronting the truth about yourself? How we said, you know, when it comes to identity, question why do you like the things you like?
Yeah,
You know, who defines that being good or evil? You know, where's that come from? Do the same thing to that. So when it comes to, like, you know, things like, you know, just let them love who they want to love, pedophilia and things like that. The question then becomes, you're saying, because I see a lot of many people listening to this right now saying, but pedophilia, no, that's a step too far. You know, that can never be okay. Why not?
Why not?
Upon what basis are you judging that?
Yes, exactly.
Again, it's the same thing about identity. Upon what basis are you judging that pedophilia is not okay?
Yeah.
Because in a society, and you might not like this, that gets rid of God, and hey, listen, you who doesn't want to listen to this whole thing about God, like, it eventually comes back to this.
It does. It actually does.
It always comes back to God. What is the God of your life?
Yeah.
What is that higher thing that determines what's good or evil?
Yeah.
So you're saying that pedophilia, you know, that's a step too far. Upon what basis are you saying that? Because if the basis, now coming back to identity, because we said before that if something outside of you is defining your identity, that can be a good thing, that can be a bad thing.
Yeah.
Let's look at, can you define your identity for yourself? My answer is no.
Can you define your identity by yourself? Not fully.
I think you can choose what you allow to define your identity. So you can choose what you submit to.
You can choose what you submit to and what you're influenced by, of course.
But you cannot. But you can choose what you give you open yourself up to influence you.
Yeah.
But you cannot define it yourself. What right, what power, what authority do you have to define who you are?
True.
I mean, you'll say that, oh yeah, well, I am who I am, right? There's a problem with you saying that.
I see what you did there.
Because your name's not Yahweh. But anyway.
I see what you did there.
Anyway, you might say that was a Christian joke. Anyway, you might say, I define myself. Well, you didn't give birth to yourself.
Yeah.
So how much power do you have over your own life, really?
Very true.
Right?
Very true.
So if we're going to say, you know, I don't think personally, that's my opinion, I don't think that you can define yourself. And if you cannot define yourself, you can only choose what you allow to define you.
Yeah.
The question then becomes, you know, and here's the other thing. Remember what we said about society and human beings being fickle, and how any society, if they define themselves, you know, what was a crime yesterday will be, you know, a heroic gesture tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right? It's the same thing with you. Like, how many times have you been in a situation when there was something you said that you hated because it made you feel horrible? Like Brussels sprouts. You hated Brussels sprouts, or you hated broccoli.
Yeah.
Or olives. That's a good example. And then you hit a certain age and all of a sudden you love olives.
Yeah, it's
now,
true.
it's a very simplistic argument, but it goes to show that, like, for whatever reason, there are things that are outside of your control that can change your thoughts and your feelings on certain things.
Yeah.
And so now, if you leave defining yourself to yourself, that's probably going to end up doing more harm than good to you.
Definitely.
Because you need to be rooted in something solid, not something that's sinking sand, perhaps. So,
this guy.
So let's bring it back again. So that's my opinion. Do you feel like an individual can define themselves?
No, not at all. Because I feel like, okay, let's go to all of the popular people or all of the celebrities that most people, most people will allow to influence themselves and influence their what's the word? Influence their not morals. What's the word we were just talking about?
Perspectives, their worldview.
No, influence their. Oh, what's the word?
It will come to you.
It's identity. That's the
identity.
one. That's
wow.
the one. That's the one I was looking for. But yeah.
Anyway, yeah.
In terms of celebrities, because a lot of people will base their identity off of celebrities and what celebrities do. Do you know what I'm saying? I think it was, I don't know if it was Meg Thee Stallion or whoever it was. I don't even know. Like they created the whole hot girl summer thing, and come see the myriads and myriads of girls just saying, "Oh, hot girl summer and this and that." It's like when you look at all the famous people that are influencing hundreds of thousands, millions of people around the world, even they were influenced before they started. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So in terms of that, I gotta agree with you. You don't choose who you mold. You don't choose, or you don't mold your own identity. You can only pick who influences your identity.
Now, what's this? Yeah, here's the problem. All the things around us that influence us, entertainment and things like that, which if we submit ourselves to those things and if we make them the standard by which we live our lives, if we make them the standard that we want to attain, the problem with that is that is not pure.
Yeah,
like everything around us has some level of impurity. To a degree, not necessarily everything, but things like media, things like celebrities, there's an impurity there. And I'm not just talking about the fact that they're not necessarily modestly clad or, it's filthy language. But like what I'm trying to say is there are agendas. That's what I mean by impurity.
Yeah.
All the celebrities, all the people that have been allowed to be celebrities, all of those individuals. Have you noticed that there are certain narratives that are pushed and others aren't?
Yeah.
Have you noticed the fact that certain things are popular now and other things aren't? Have you noticed the fact that, like, things like Hot Girl Summer, why is that so popular? Why is it that that's the narrative? Why do we have loads of girls like that as celebrities, as opposed to, why is it not popular to be necessarily to be intelligent? Why is that not one of the most popular things?
Yeah.
Why is it not popular to see, a black couple? Why is that not the popular thing? Why is it that we often see black men with white women? Why is the popular thing to be the hyper-aggressive guy? And why is it that the message is so consistent in media and amongst many celebrities? That, to me, screams agenda.
Yeah.
And if that's what influences you, then what that tells me is that you are subject to agendas.
Yeah.
Other people's agendas. And that's when you can be very, very easily manipulated.
And you probably don't even know it. That's the worst part.
And you don't even know it. Now, why would a person subject themselves to that? And I think one reason why a person, and again, we're talking about identity, and particularly with young black men, young black women, not even black people, just people in general, really. I think it's because deep down, everybody to a degree wants to be accepted.
Of course they do.
What does that have to do with celebrities? Well, okay, celebrities and systems and what society says is right, that is presented to mankind as the standard. That's why if you're a woman, you need to look like this.
Yeah.
Shout out to all our black ladies who are very curvaceous, by the way. You've become the standard of beauty, but just in a different color. Yeah, unfortunately, they don't want to give credit to whom credit is due. Well, we're gonna do that here.
100%.
So shout out to our beautiful black sisters,
big shout
our
out.
Black wives, our black mothers, our black daughters. Shout out to all of you. Because at a point in time, like we were saying on a previous podcast, you have to go from sister to wife. Hallelujah.
It's real.
You know what I'm saying? So that's not even... Anyway, so society has standards for things.
Yeah.
But the thing is, because society has standards for things, those things have been presented as the things to be attained. Become like the things that are desirable. Become like this and you will be desirable. Hold this position and you will be desirable.
Yeah.
Do you feel what I'm saying? We see it on Twitter all the time. All it takes for you to be right is for a few thousand people to agree with you and to disagree with anybody who disagrees with you.
Yeah.
Like the judge of Twitter are the people. And it could be wrong. It could be a toxic thing.
Yeah.
But if everybody says, oh, this is the right thing, that suddenly makes it the right thing. Why is that the case? Because human beings are gregarious by nature. What does that mean? We love to live in community. We love to live and in friendship groups. We love to live with other people. We want to be accepted. So if agendas are set by powers that be, and they have determined that certain things are what are desirable, why would somebody subject themselves to that? Because they see that's what other people look at as desirable. So if I become that, then other people will like me. Other people will desire me. There, right there, is a massive identity problem.
Yeah,
when
true.
you are doing things for the acceptance of other people, regardless of whether they are right or wrong. And what's worse, cursed be those, woe to those who call good evil and who call evil good. Somebody just started speaking in tongues right there.
Oh my days.
Somebody just, I just have a feeling somebody just started speaking in tongues right there. Hallelujah. Woe to those who call evil good and who call good evil. Some people right now, you're listening to me.
Proverbs?
And you're thinking, I don't even know if that's Proverbs. It
sounds like a proverb thing still.
Anyway, some people are listening and they're like, oh, you guys are too preachy. Again, learn to listen to someone who has a different perspective than you.
If you disagree, our DMs are open.
They're open.
They're open.
Let us know. We understand that this is a very complicated issue. There are many aspects to it.
Yeah.
And we're not saying that there's only one reason why somebody would want to be desired by other people. But what we are saying is that's something that almost every human being has. They want to be considered desirable, including the person who says, I don't care what anybody thinks. That is a desirable perspective to have.
Yeah.
Because it makes you look like you are unhinged. You are unshackled.
Yeah.
It makes you look free. And people want freedom.
Yeah.
Loads of people are in denial.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not me. I wouldn't, I'm not doing this because my boys are doing it. I'm doing it because I want to do it.
I want to do it, sure. If that makes you sleep at night.
What's this? I don't dress up to attract the attention of boys.
He's gone there. I
do it because I want to do it.
I told him not to do it. He's gone
You
there.
didn't say a damn thing. I do it because I want to do it. Now, listen, there is an element of it where it's okay to consider what other people think. In fact, sometimes it keeps us in check.
Yeah.
Sometimes it keeps us in check, and that's a good thing. And, it's okay to want to be desirable to the opposite sex. Like, there's no crime in that.
Perfectly fine.
Listen,
perfectly fine.
I don't know about you, but as a guy, if I'm going to go out and I know my lady is there, I'm going to dress way better because she's there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
You feel what I'm saying?
100%.
Like, if I'm going, like, literally, like, I could go to meet my friends. I'll dress up, cool, yeah, cool. But if I know I'm meeting the lady, or, if I'm a single man and I know there's a potential to be of the opposite sex, I'm telling you women as a man, I'm going to put more effort into it.
100%. Oh, no cap. If I'm just going with the man them, I won't cap to you. Straight tracksuits. Not a care in the world.
But when girls are there,
when girls are there, low key, make sure if it's time, because man, then we got to strategically plan our trims.
Come on,
they got to be strategically done.
Oh yeah.
So get the trim looking sharp, like maybe bust two jeans, a nice crepe. You know,
then
you dress like not all the way drip, but just enough drip to pique attention.
yeah,
You see it.
yeah,
You
to
see
pique
it.
interest.
You see it. Yeah.
And you see right there, you know, it's because we want to attract the person of the opposite sex. Now, you know, it sounds like we've gone off on a tangent. We understand that we've gone off slightly, but what we're talking about is the fact that sometimes it is okay to do things because of other people.
Yes.
There are some times where that's okay. And women, you know, a lot of women say, I don't do it for men, I do it for myself. And that's because you've been made to feel like, one, men don't do it for women, and two, that's the only reason you do it. We understand there are other reasons why you try to slay on the gram and blah. Some of those reasons are good, some of those reasons are toxic. Use the truth to identify which one is which. But, you know, let it be heard here. Let it be heard by every woman.
People's necks, boy.
Listen, man. So women, let it be heard here. Let it be understood that I don't know about other men, but for me as a man, I dress up for women, quote unquote. And it's okay to do that so long as your identity is not rooted in that.
Yes.
Brilliant segue. Right back into the topic. So, as we were saying before, when you do things for the sake of other people, because a lot of you guys deny that you're doing it for other guys, you know, you're doing things because your boys think that's cool. You know, when, for example, why is it a bad thing to be whipped?
Because society will tell you as a guy, you look weak. Or for a guy anyway. But yeah, that's what society will tell you.
Is that really weak? Now, of course, yeah, you shouldn't be so in love that you can be easily manipulated and not even tell.
Boy.
Now, we understand that's when it's quote unquote bad to be whipped.
Yeah.
But in a relationship where there's reciprocity and there's genuine affection and you want to impress this young lady and she's on your mind 24/7 and you know you desire to make her your own by marrying her, you desire to take care of her and to love her well, to, you know, to live in service to her and reciprocity for her to live in service to you, and you want to share that with your boys. Why is that a bad thing? Why is that weak? Because it takes a man to do that.
True.
It takes an actual man to do that.
There's a lot of qualities that girls want that, you know, the way society tells man them is that you gotta be a hard man. Like we were saying in the first episode, you gotta be a hard man, alpha male, dominance, XYZ. But then girls will say they want a man who's caring. Do you know what I'm saying? They want a man who can be gentle. Do you know what I'm saying? And these aren't necessarily traits synonymous with the alpha male, if you will.
Yeah.
So, you know, it just goes down to what people are using to influence their own identity.
So how do you find your identity? How does a person find themselves? We've identified that, you know, you've got to confront yourself with the truth. Yeah. Why do you actually? Because I enjoy it. What about it is enjoyable? Why do you want to, for those of us who are married or for those of us who, you know, are having, you know, for those of us who are in sexual relationships, why does the guy want to have sex in that way? Where did that come from? Because I enjoy it. Oh, but you saw that on pornography though. Yeah, and why is that your model for sex?
Yeah.
Should that be your model for sex?
It shouldn't.
The answer is no.
No.
The answer is definitely
let's
no.
not get this conflated. Let's not get it mixed up. Let's not get it confused. No.
Pornography is bad for everybody.
Everybody.
And even that statement right there is controversial nowadays.
No.
But again, why do you think pornography is okay?
Yeah.
Especially, let's just say the truth. Loads of those women have been sex trafficked and forced to do it. Let's just say it.
I mean, there is that, but there's just a stupid amount of money inside porn right now. A stupid amount of money. To the point where I think I saw something that said if you drop like a sex tape on like one of these porn websites, I think it was Pornhub or something like that. If you drop a sex tape on there, you get paid like 50 grand. People do it for the money. Which is
sad.
That's problematic.
Because the question is again, it speaks to value.
Yeah.
What is that person? And again, that comes back to identity.
Exactly.
What are those people? What is it? What do you value more? Your self-respect? And even self-respect is being redefined nowadays.
Yeah.
But what do you value more, your self-respect or money? Some people have been forced to do it because they're in a tough position.
Yeah.
Or they have chosen to do it because that seems to be to them
the only option.
The better of two evils. Okay.
Oh, fair enough.
We understand it's not always black and white.
And we pray for people like that because it's not easy. It's
That
not
God
easy at all.
would help their financial situation, help them to get out of that.
Mm.
Because a lot of those people, it's not as enjoyable as it looks. I'm just letting you know.
There's a whole load of drugs and trauma, but hey ho.
Seriously. So, again, even that speaks to value.
Yeah.
Why is it that your body is worth less than money?
Mm-hmm.
Do you feel what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, and why do you think it's okay for you to watch that?
Mm.
Why do you think that's cool? Where's that come from?
Yeah.
Who told you that was okay?
Yeah.
And so you might be turning that around on us and saying, well, who told you it was wrong to watch pornography? Oh, well, let's talk about that. When it comes to identity, let's ask that question that we asked before because it's linked to that.
Yeah.
How does somebody then find their identity? How can they find who they are? Well, I think that ultimately, when it comes to identity, it's a word that's become very rinsed in Christian circles.
Yeah.
But it really is rooted in purpose. So just over the past couple of hours, I was just thinking about this question, and we call a spoon based on its purpose to a degree. We call a fork based on its purpose, right? And so it's identified as a fork because of the purpose it is meant to serve, the use it's meant to serve. And so even when it comes to human beings, your identity is rooted in purpose.
Yeah.
It's a word that's been rinsed in Christian circles, but that's the truth of the matter. Well, if you're not a Christian, like whatever you might be, maybe you've never come across this concept before, but identity really is rooted in purpose. It's your purpose that will determine, who you are to a degree.
Yeah.
Because you need to be who you need to be so that you can fulfill that purpose. Now, some of you might be saying, well, I don't know what my purpose in life is. Well, you might not find your whole purpose just yet.
Yeah.
But there are seasonal purposes.
Yeah.
There are environmental purposes.
Therefore.
So what do I mean by seasonal purposes? It's like, okay, what season of life are you in right now? Okay, you're in this particular season of life. What is it that you need to accomplish? What are those good things that need to be done around you? Do you feel what I'm saying? And are you fulfilling that purpose? So yeah, there are definitely seasonal purposes. So follow the seasonal purposes. What's your purpose for this season?
Yeah.
What is your purpose for the current environment you're in? You're living at home right now. Okay. What's your relationship purpose right now? What's your purpose in this particular relationship?
Yeah.
So with your parents, maybe your purpose is just to be a good son. How can you be a good son? What are the things you can do around you now to help fulfill that purpose? In this season that you're in, you're a student or you're a husband, you're a wife, which is a season that lasts the rest of your life. How can you be the best husband or the best wife that you can be?
Yeah.
Do you feel what I'm saying? How can you serve those people around you? For we Christians, the purpose is definitely linked to God. So part of it is ultimately it's just glorifying God, making God look good, giving God good reputation as far as everyone's concerned. You call yourself a Christ follower, give Christ a good reputation then. Do you know what I'm saying? And there's a purpose in that. So that affects everything. It's like, okay, that means you have to be good at your job. It means you have to be a good husband. It means you have to be a good wife. It means you have to be a good son. It affects everything literally. So
True.
What's your seasonal purpose? What's your environmental purpose? What's your relational purpose?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? And these need to be, for us Christians anyway, things that are serving others because that's loving others. And then the other thing, again, like what are you called to? What do you feel a burden for? What bothers you? What wickedness do you want to stop? What evil thing do you want to change? What good do you want to do?
Yeah.
Even from a non-religious perspective, it's just beneficial to humanity. And that's desirable. And then some people might be saying, well, all this purpose talk, why does it matter? Why can't I just live my life doing whatever I want to do? Why can't that be my purpose? I just do what I want.
I mean, before you say what you're gonna say, I think that's a terrible way to live your life. Just going about with the mindset of, I don't want to be shackled to have to do certain things a certain way. I want to be able to do whatever I want to be able to do, and I don't want anyone to hold me accountable for anything I'm doing. I think that's a shocking way to live your life. And a lot of people that don't have Christ, that's the kind of moral compass they operate by, because then it all comes down to moral subjectivity. So then it's a thing of, I can do what I want and you can't question me because you can't question my morals. Do you know what I'm saying? That's how you have people justifying murder. You have people justifying rape. You have people justifying child pedophilia. So yeah, on a quick side note, that is not a way to live. That is shocking.
Now here's the thing, like what David, aka B, what he's doing there is he's working that mentality to its logical conclusion. Because a lot of people live like that.
Yeah.
Just do whatever makes you happy.
Yeah.
That's how a lot of people live. That's the rule of law for a lot of people.
Yeah.
As long as I'm not hurting anybody else and I'm making myself happy, that's absolutely fine. The problem with that is that work it to its logical conclusion. Like, do whatever you want. When you work that to its logical conclusion, eventually anything is justifiable.
Yeah.
Any wicked thing is justifiable because it's whatever you want. Well, you say, I don't want anything wicked. Well, not now. But there's a situation that could possibly arise where that particular worldview of just doing whatever you want will end up with you doing evil.
Yeah, because like even an example that I tell people when I mention this kind of thing is obviously something that fits into the bracket of not being against the law, but then maybe this is against the law, I don't know, but something that doesn't harm other people. Do you know what I'm saying? Somebody that masturbates to child porn, like they're in the comfort of their own house that they pay rent for. You know, that's their computer that they paid for, hard-earned taxpayer money, like they pay their taxes.
Technically speaking, they're not hurting anybody.
Do you see what I'm saying? Some people will say that the child was hurt or abused in making that child porn, and I understand that, but then it's not the person who's masturbating to that. Do you see what I'm saying? Some people will say obviously they're endorsing it because they're watching it and taking pleasure from it, but if it was a system whereby there's no other way to gauge a moral compass, then that becomes all right, and you can't question such a person. Do you see what I'm saying?
Absolutely. So what's your identity rooted in? What's your purpose found in? And for those people who say, you know, purpose doesn't matter, a purposeless man is easily breakable and easily destroyed.
True.
Easily manipulated.
True.
As we said with identity, because remember, identity is rooted in purpose. If you have no purpose, a purpose will be given to you.
Yeah.
And you'll just end up being a brainless, mindless, blind person being used for the purposes of other people. Yeah. That's called a robot. You literally end up becoming a mindless sheep being used for the purposes of others. And more often than not, when those purposes are determined by human beings who don't know God, human beings who don't know the true God, let's say that too, you end up being used for evil. Yeah. So if you lack purpose, it will be given to you. So again, like if we want to ask that question of how do you go from, you know, having no identity, quote unquote, or not knowing your identity to having identity, it comes back to purpose. What is your purpose? Yeah. You know, and if you don't know what your purpose is for your entire life, which is okay, not everybody knows it, you will eventually know. Yeah. At least for we Christians anyway. But if you don't know what your life's purpose is meant to be, then look at your surrounding environment. You know, what good can you do? Yeah. Because that good is beneficial to human society and it's beneficial to you. Doing good does you good. Yeah. It's literally the best conceivable option. And how do we define what is good and evil? Well, that needs to come from something much higher than ourselves, like we said before. Otherwise, what's good and evil becomes malleable. And that's when you have massive problems. Massive problems. So I hope that makes sense. And I hope that's a good starting point for you to evaluate for yourself and to hopefully launch from there. Do you have anything more you want to say?
No, man, I summed it up pretty much.
And on my side, I'm good. Well, listen, as always, get yourself a little bread, get yourself a little blue, and make yourself a part of the purple people. Shout out to the purple people, the purple nation.
Gang.
I love you, and we're out. Peace.
Peace.